McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and wow, starting off the morning really good here. I apologize for my computer here real fast. Let me get that switched off. But hey, McCollum on Business, Tuesday. Good way to start it, right? I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Local stories, of course, market watch, stocks we're paying attention to. Well, we got a lot of government reporting we need to talk about today, and consumer confidence and reports and all of that stuff. And hey, we got it. Rough start here. My computer's been quiet all morning, folks, until we went live there, and that's what happens right on this Tuesday. But hey, let's get into that market watch. Can only go up from here, and that includes the market, folks, here this morning. Dow Jones currently up 151 points right now to 48,389. S&P 500's up 30 points to 6919. The Nasdaq's up 203 points right now to 23,386. The Russell 2K also up today about 15 points. It's up to 2694 here today on this Tuesday. Then there's Bitcoin. Look at this, a big rally, mid 70,000 level, 75,534 for Bitcoin here today on this Tuesday. So overall, good rally today. What's happening? Well, just some reporting out there as well. The blockade has happened there. Oil has stabilized with the blockade happening right now. So a market is up today here, and that's good news here on this Tuesday. By the way, did rally yesterday afternoon after our showtime in the morning, as the day went on, did rally. Basically the S&P 500 yesterday wiped out all of the Iran war losses that have happened over the last month of that war. So that's where we're at here today, going into it with another positive day. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. First one, Novo Nordisk out there. These are the U.S. shares of the company, 2.50% up right now. They announced a partnership with OpenAI. They want to integrate AI in everyday work, and they say that, quote, gives us the ability to analyze data sets at a scale that was previously impossible, also identify patterns we could not see, and test hypotheses faster than ever using that AI. According to Novo Nordisk CEO, he put all that out in a statement yesterday. So even the drug makers were relying on artificial intelligence to get some hypotheses and things done a bit quicker. Now let's talk some banking stocks out there. First one we're going to look at is JP Morgan Chase. They posted better than expected first quarter results. And look at that. They're down 0.14% here today. Yes. They earned $5.94 per share. The expectation was $5.45 per share. They came in with revenue of $50.54 billion. Well, their revenue came in at $49.17 billion. It was the expectation, at least there. So they did blow both of those numbers out. But the stock here on that side gave back an initial gain and it was also down 2% here in pre-market because it lowered its net interest income guidance. That's their problem here for JP Morgan Chase. The lowering of that net interest income guidance, that's the interest they make off of their loans. JP Morgan down 0.18% here right now. And then let's look at Wells Fargo, also in the news today, down 5.34% right now. Their first quarter results actually failed to impress investors overall. Wells Fargo earned $1.60 per share. The number was not comparable to the estimate of $1.58 because the $1.60 they reported actually included a tax benefit. So they beat that number, but it was because of a tax benefit that got them above that number. So they don't consider it an equal. Well, that's why Wells Fargo obviously didn't hit the number they needed without that tax benefit. The revenue, though, was just below the consensus level, just barely missed it, but that number was $21.45 billion there. So Wells Fargo hitting the number, at least on the surface, but a tax benefit's what pushed them over that line. 5.16% down here for Wells Fargo here today. And when we come back later on to look at these stocks, we're going to look at United Airlines, American Airlines as well. but not because of oil reasons, folks. This is why we're going to look at these two airlines. And then also, Intel's in the news today, making some waves here on the market. Of course, we have a big presence of Intel here in the Valley, here in Phoenix, where we record the show. Then, of course, Global Star. We'll talk about that as we got some official word on Global Star. We told you about the rumor last week of them being purchased by Amazon. Got some confirmation on that, so we'll look at them as well coming up later in the program. But first, let's get into the big stories that you need to know here on this Tuesday. And that strictly is the producer price index came out this morning. If you don't know what that index is, it's a gauge of pipeline costs for final demand goods and services. Well, it came in actually a shockingly low level after with the because these are numbers during the war happening. Keep that in mind. It increased a seasonally adjusted 0.5% for the month, well below the consensus estimate of 1.1%. We get these numbers, by the way, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that came out this morning. Excluding food and energy, well, that would make that the core PPI. It was up just 0.1% against the forecast for 0.5%. The services side of inflation, well, that's what the Federal Reserve policymakers look at. It was actually flat on the month as well. These are good numbers considering we were all expecting terrible numbers with the war in Iran happening currently out there. On an annual basis, the all items PPI accelerated 4%. That's the biggest 12-month gain since February of 23. Core PPI posted a 3.8% annual gain. So if you exclude the highly volatile items like food, energy, trade services, PPI increased 0.2% monthly. That's at 3.6% annually. Trade services slipped 0.3% for the month. That's an indicator that businesses are absorbing tariff costs and not necessarily passing along to you, us, the consumer out there. The increase on the producer end of prices, well, that was less than the 0.9% gain in prices. Consumers actually paid for the month. Core consumer prices were also way down. Some would call it soft. It rose just 0.2% as well. Shockingly good numbers here in this reporting. And what I mean by shockingly, well, the war was expecting inflation, was expecting numbers to go up in big numbers, and that just did not happen there last month as well. And we got some updates here on home sales out there. And, here's a shocker for you. Not even close to being good here on the home side of things. Existing home sales fell 3.6% last month. Now, these are national levels. That was from the February number to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.98 million units. We get this from the National Association of Realtors. This report came out late yesterday afternoon. Sales also fell 1% compared with March just last year, weighed down by declines in the Northeast and the Midwest, where their sales are happening even less. The latest sales figure, it does fall short of the roughly 4.06 million pace economists were expecting. In a measure of Americans' short-term expectations for their income, their business conditions, and the job market, well, it fell 1.7 points to 70.9. That is well below that 80 number that they want to see. The 80 number, by the way, is, anything below 80 signals a recession is coming ahead. And we've been below 80 for a long time now. 14th consecutive month, by the way, that the reading has come in under 80. Sales have been hovering close to 4 million annual pace now, going back to 2023. Well, that's 4 million is a good number, but not compared to the historical side of it. And we know the market is slow nationally. And that 4 million number that's hovering around, it's well short of the 5.2 million annual pace. That's historically been the norm in the housing market. So market size, markets are not, it's just stagnant out there. This economy isn't going to get going again until this housing issue does get solved out there. And then we can go into, some more reporting here on the National Federation of Independent Business. They came out early this morning and they said its small business optimum index, well, it dropped 3 points and went down to 95.8 last month. That's the lowest level since April of 25. It even pushed it below a 52-year average of 98.0. Yeah, just all, some good numbers here in the PPI this morning, and everything else is kind of kind of pessimistic side of things. The survey's uncertainty index jumped 4 points and went to 92, well below its historical average of 68. The survey followed on the heels of news, of course, from that University of Michigan survey last week that said its consumer sentiment index there plunged to a record low in April. So this one isn't a surprise, right? On the business side, businesses were pessimistic about profit and sales prospects, but the share of owners expecting better business conditions did drop 7 points. It went to a seasonally adjusted 11%, the lowest since October of 24, and it marks the third consecutive monthly decline on that number. So, this is a just a weird economy that we're in, right? No hire, no fire economy. Estimates pessimism of the market, both business and personal, is not good. The sentiment, but then we get those numbers in the PPI where it's just flat or better than expected coming up here. So it is an interesting market that we're in, a kind of baffling and head scratcher out there as well. Even so, that we're even companies are a little bit confused on what to do. For instance, the parent company of 7-Eleven, it's Seven and I over there in Japan. But they say they intend to shut down hundreds of its North American locations over the coming months. So, how many are hundreds? 645 stores during this 2026 fiscal year is what they're wanting to close down. By the way, they began this process reportedly back in March. The total number of coming closures includes stores that will be converted into wholesale fuel stores. 7-Eleven does exclude those from its count of the actual convenience stores that they have. They did not say which ones are going to close and where. They're just going to randomly do it, I suppose. I suspect it's older stores, if I had to guess. But the company plans to even add 205 convenience stores by the end of next February. So even companies are doing the protraction, but also adding at the same time. Kind of what we're seeing with the reporting out there. The Wall Street Journal came out and reported yesterday that in addition to the closures, Seven and I Holdings, which is the parent company, they revealed it would delay the planned initial public offering for 7-Eleven's North American chain until next fiscal year. They originally wanted it to be done here at the end of this year coming up as well. So remember, they're splitting the company off right now. They tried to sell it and didn't work out, so now they're splitting it off. But so we're seeing the consumer sentiment, right, where everybody thinks the market is terrible. The sentiment on the business and personal side is that the market is unknown right now. A lot of people taking curious holds to it, right? Not spending as much, etc. And now you're even seeing these companies where they're closing a lot of stores, but also optimistic enough to open new ones as well moving forward. It's a crazy market, folks, out there as well. Now, for those of you with parents with little ones out there, and they inevitably play Roblox, whether you know it or not, with their friends. But Roblox Corporation did come out this week and say they're going to introduce new age-based accounts, and that's specifically for young users as the company seeks to step up safety measures on its online gaming platform. This all stems around everybody's trying to get in front of the adults doing bad things with kids there on the chat programs and these games, right? Roblox said the accounts, which will roll out in early June, they're going to tailor content, communication, and parental controls more closely to the user's ages. If you remember, I think last year or a few months ago, they implemented an under 16 program where it just accompanied everybody under 16, where they're tightening it up a little bit as well. They did say that they will automatically assign users aged 5 to 8 to a Roblox Kids account. Users that are aged 9 to 15, well, they'll get a separate account called Roblox Select. Users under age 9, they'll be prevented from using the chat function. Users 9 to 15 will be able to use it, but only to a limited amount. At age 16, users will have full access to the online gaming platform and all of its features, obviously, except for the restricted content, which is 18 and older on the game as well. The company said it will also give parents more control to block specific games and even manage direct chat features for their children. Over 150 million people use Roblox every day, according to the company. There you go, folks. Roblox dialing it down. We see a lot of the social media out there kind of fighting the restriction there of age, or doing it, finding the ways to do it out there. And Roblox stepping up and stepping in completely here, starting in June as well. And then some other bad news for you out there. We talk all the time about these streaming companies raising their prices. Well, YouTube Premium, if you subscribe to that, you should expect to see higher monthly prices here coming up. It is the first increase, though, for YouTube Premium since 2023. So it has been a while. YouTube Premium said the price changes will help it, quote, maintain features our members value most: ad free viewing, background play, and even a massive library of 300 million plus tracks on YouTube Music. So they say your money's going to go towards. YouTube Premium, if you don't know, does offer ad free viewing, background listening, offline video downloads, and of course, like I said, the whole YouTube Music Premium service. Under the new pricing, YouTube Premium is going to cost you $15.99 per month. That's up $2 as well. YouTube Music Premium is going to rise to $11.99. That's up $1. And then the YouTube Premium Lite plan, that's going to increase to $8.99 per month as well. So $1 increase for that light premium light plan as well for YouTube. So everything's going up, folks, including YouTube Premium here coming up. And they didn't say when it was going to start. I imagine it's going to happen at your next billing cycle, depending when that happens for you out there. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep it rolling here as well. A couple local stories here for you. But, of course, we'll look at the airlines, United and American, making news not because of oil prices and their gas expenses right now. Kind of shocking news coming out today on these two companies. Intel, local presence, we'll look at them as they're making news. And then Global Star, we got confirmation. We'll give you that as well and look at their stocks. Come on back. Tuesday's edition, McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. Appreciate you joining us here this morning. You just saw the commercial right there for The Real Matrix. Well, new episode did come out every Friday, 10 a.m. here at Robat TV, noon on Rumble. Rumble.com/user/TME Media is where you can find that. All of our programming is on Rumble now as well, including this show, the business, or the sports shows as well. All there on Rumble as well. So look for that at noon on Rumble. And, of course, free podcast, The Real Matrix. Just search The Real Matrix, Angry Patriot. Come right up for you on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, Podchaser, everything. We are everywhere there as well. The Angry Patriot appreciates you coming in with an open mind and seeing what he has to offer out there. And as soon as we're done here on this program, we put this on demand as well. We're, of course, live 7 a.m. here at Robat TV. We put it up on demand on on YouTube TV. TME Media AZ is where you find our parent company out there on YouTube. check us out as well. Follow us on TME Media AZ as well on X. Well, we put the links out for shows and promote our stuff there for you. Easier to find. Of course, no podcast for this show, but we roll right into the main event right after we're done here, live here at Robot TV, 8 to 10 a.m. Soon as that's done, on demand, both on YouTube, TME Media AZ, and TME Media on Rumble as well for these programs. Then, of course, you can follow us at TME Sports Show on X. Interact with us there. Interact with us on our text line, 623-252-6670. That text line's for all of our programming, by the way, that I do here, right? The main event, McCollum on Business, Pit Stop. You can hit us up there on that text line. And then the podcast systems, just search the main event with Steven or the main event with Dale. It'll pop right up for you on your favorite podcast system. Then you got the Pit Stop, new episode coming up this week. We just got done with Bristol. IndyCar gets underway at Long Beach again this weekend after a couple weeks off. So full show coming your way this week as well here on Wednesday for the Pit Stop. Again, on demand here, Robot TV, the YouTube page, TME Media AZ. They do have social media. The Pit Stop Talk is where you can find that. And your favorite podcast systems. Just search the Pit Stop with Steven. Do have to be a little bit more specific there. There are a lot of defunct Pit Stop shows out there on the podcasting system. So just search the Pit Stop with Steven and it pops right up for you there as well. Also on rumble.com/user TME Media there for you as well. And folks, appreciate all your support here as well as we continue to grow, and follow us TME Media AZ on X, of course, for our parent company, our company here. And we'd love for Gobi, me, Ethan, Riley, Dale, we'd all love for you to like that parent company as well, as that's where we're starting to get out the promotions and what we do here and fun stuff like that. So, folks, with all that being said, good day on the market. Let's keep it rolling with that Market Watch. So basically, as I told you yesterday, the S&P 500 ended up wiping out all of the Iran war losses here. And I get that information from CNBC here this morning. But the Dow Jones right now is up 201 points to 48,433. The S&P 500 up today as well, 43 points. As of right now, the Nasdaq's up 263 points this morning. A lot of optimism that this Iran situation is going to get settled, even though there's nothing like it publicly certain about it, but investors are getting on board with that thought here as at least the beginning of this week. The Russell 2K, well, it's up 21 points right now. That small cap index also having a nice day here on the market. And then there's Bitcoin. Look at this, folks. 75,000 level it hits. 75,779 for Bitcoin here early in trading this morning. It's been low 70s here for the last couple days, but just hovering in that high 60s for basically the last month or so here. So we're seeing some movement there. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. Well, United Airlines is going to be our first stock we're going to look at here right now. They're up 3.22% right now. Here's what's happening. It has nothing to do with oil, has nothing to do with expenses that we've been following the airlines for the last month with the Iran situation. No. CEO Scott Kirby had pitched a merger with American Airlines during a meeting with President Trump. Yeah, that reporting came out yesterday. Well, United's up 3.38% based off of that news. Then American's our next stock we're going to look at as well, American Airlines. Well, they're up 8.95% based off of that. There would be, why do you propose that to President Trump? Because the antitrust regulators would have a field day with two large airlines emerging, obviously less competition out there, etc. So that's why you pitch it to the president first and see if there's interest in it. We'll have to see where this goes. But today, both of these airlines are up big based off of the reports that the CEO of United did, float a merger with American out there to President Trump. Kind of a shocker to hear that this morning as well. And like I said, how do you get past the regulators on that, I guess? But hey, that's for other people to deal with. Because there's also Intel in the news today. That's our next stock we're going to look at. Obviously big presence here in the valley down there in Chandler. They're down 2.65% right now on this side. Well, when I looked at this stock, it was actually up about 1%. So there has been a sell-off here as the market's been open here in the last hour or so. Well, if this stock finishes up, it's going to continue its pace of 10 positive sessions in a row. If it finishes down today, it's going to break that pace of 10 positive sessions in a row. So, Intel, though, most importantly, the storyline here is 10 positive sessions in a row for Intel. That's the longest winning streak since 2005. Back then, it rose 13 straight sessions at that time. So Intel is quietly for the last 10 days, 10 trading days has been up, folks. And today, at least, it's down here to start the day. We'll have to see where it finishes and if that trend continues or if it ends here at 10 later on today. And then Global Star is what we're going to look at as our final stock. 10.07% up today. Last week, with this stock had a run up. It was either Thursday or Friday, if I remember correctly. Had a run up at that time. Well, it is official now because last week was just a rumor. Amazon has announced that it's going to acquire Global Star for $11.57 billion. Well, why is Amazon, acquiring Global Star? Well, because they want to challenge Starlink, which is Elon Musk's low orbit satellite company. Amazon stock is up 1% today as well, just as we look at that. No graph on that, but I'm just letting you know. But Global Star officially announces, Amazon officially made the announcement today, so 9.85% up here today. And that's on top of the big run up it did last week when that was just a quote unquote rumor out there on the market. So there we go. Official words at that point. Now, get into some local stuff out there. If you're up there in the Scottsdale area and you're really big into pickleball, got an update for you on that Pure Pickleball and Paddle uh, building that's going up there in Scottsdale. That basically is a co-developed 196,000 square foot indoor pickleball and paddle facility. Yeah. Oof. It's adjacent to Scottsdale, but it's basically at the Riverwalk there at the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community as where it's going in at. Well, it is official. It has received all required building permits, which obviously is clearing the final regulatory hurdles. And now the building is ready to be started to go up at this point as well for groundbreaking. Permits were filed originally in September of 2025. And now all of them are finally approved. So the parent company of Pure, well, they're finalizing construction financing, and they're closing an equity round that they have out there. Once that's done, the groundbreaking will be announced after that close. Pure has opened its charter membership wait list. So if you're interested, this is obviously opening ahead of the facilities being built. Pre-opening memberships are strictly capped. Once they are full, the rates will never be available again, according to the company. Charter members will receive a lifetime rate lock, VIP access before opening day, even exclusive events and recognition, and a permanent recognition, somewhere in the building. I don't know where. Normally, if I do that, I'm usually like in the bathroom where I get my recognition. No financial commitment is required at the time of the reservation. They just want it to be capped at that point and stir up the interest on it for you. So there you go, pickleball lovers. There you go. Hey, for us in the East Valley, we get a little bit of a treat out here, according to some DoorDash reporting. Yeah, Mesa, of all places, ranks number 4 amongst cities with the lowest restaurant price inflation. That number's at 2.4%. That's well below the national average of 3.2% as well. The top city in the country for keeping eatery inflation low, Henderson, Nevada. That's only at 1.7%. And just down the road, Las Vegas is at 2.2%. North Las Vegas, Corpus Christi, Texas, even Memphis, Tennessee, they all tied for third place at 2.3%. Lubbock, Texas, Durham, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Newark, New Jersey, they tied for fifth place at 2.5%. Look at that. So you can go to Nevada and get some cheap burgers. Well, at least burgers that haven't gotten super expensive, right? This all comes to us from the first quarterly State of Local Commerce update. Yeah, it's basically from DoorDash, folks. You know DoorDash. They rolled out autonomous vehicle robots in the East Valley last year. Yeah, I saw a couple of them rolling around yesterday. Those little red little robots when I was running around, just going down the sidewalk there. The analysis was determined by the Restaurant Price Index, which is based on a fixed basket of items from merchants with at least one order per month during the index period. And so that's basically how they gauge it, right? This is the first in a series of regular updates to DoorDash's local commerce indicators. It will build on the annual State of Local Commerce report that launched last year. So if you want to break it down by one of America's consequential fast food meals, that's how they do it: a cheeseburger, fries, and a soda. DoorDash's cheeseburger index tracked the average price of the classic trio. The report found it was up that 3.7% nationally. Yeah, that's as of March of 2026 over the last year. As I said, here in the Valley, Mesa has the best deal. It's at $15.82 for that combo. Glendale was second, by the way, $17.67. Phoenix was $18.59. Then you go to Scottsdale and Gilbert. $20.59 in Scottsdale for that combo. $21.54 in Gilbert. Chandler, come on. $21.64 in Chandler as well. We haven't forgot about you here as well down there in southern Arizona. Tucson. Yeah, you're at $17.13 for your number as well. So you're above Mesa by a couple dollars, but you are less than Glendale and all the other cities up here in Phoenix, down there in Tucson. The best cheeseburger deals overall, well, they were in Lincoln, Nebraska. Austin, Texas, Detroit, Michigan followed up that as well. There are also index categories for breakfast basics and everyday essentials. Well, no city there here in Arizona qualified and ranked on that listing for best deals. The methodology, well, it looked at transactions across 100 cities. It all comes from DoorDash's State of the Local Commerce. And so basically, it shows Mesa compares nationally on prices for groceries, meals, and everyday staples. It looks at how prices and economic conditions are shifting across the country. Data is drawn from millions of transactions out there as well. So that's how they got the methodology to get there. But look at that, Mesa, Glendale. I mean, even $20 for that combo isn't terrible. I'd like to see it a little bit. You'd like to see it under $20, right? Where you could just get a burger, fries, and a soda for $17, $18. That'd be a fantastic lunch price. A little bit high for some of that out there. But, folks, we appreciate you joining us here for McCollum on Business. So if you're out running around today and want to grab some lunch, hit a Mesa for that burger, fries, and soda, of course, to save some money. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, here, 7 a.m. McCollum on Business. Right after this, well, the main event, Bruce Cooper is going to join us today. We got Suns playing game tonight against Portland Trailblazers. We'll talk about that. Terrible Diamondbacks loss last night. Got to bring that up, unfortunately. So what's coming up on the main event? Come and join us, would you? Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you later on demand as well, or tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. live here as well on McCollum on Business. Have a great Tuesday night, everyone.